In the meantime, British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly says King Charles III welcoming South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa for the first state visit of his reign is a sign of the UK's enduring commitment to Africa. This is as the country aims to have new partners in Asia. Cleverly says the UK is committed to strong friendships and partnerships with African countries.
Well, the fact that we are welcoming the President of South Africa for His Majesty the King's first ever state visit, I think should be read as our enduring commitment to the continent. It's important that whilst we do focus on the Indo-Pacific as we set out in our integrated review, that we also show that that is not going to be at the expense of the incredibly important partnerships that we have through the Commonwealth and through other multilateral fora, and as well as the bilateral relationship. So we are absolutely committed to our strong friendship and partnership working with African countries, as well as, not instead of, the work that we're doing in the Indo-Pacific.
Well, our global affairs analyst Ejike Okpa is on the news tonight and joins me from Dallas, US to discuss this. Good to see you, Ejike, and thanks as always. Now, let's start by exploring the bilateral relationship between South Africa with the United Kingdom. Now, how strong do you see this in your view?
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, bilateral relationship is not new. I think what Britain has always done and has succeeded in doing is to keep appeasing African countries. We're in this together, we are friends. But then, let's just pull back and look at the relative strength and stability in some of these African nations. I mean, is there any reflection, or proof to say that actually the relationship is not that of a master and a servant, or a former colonial master and the subsequent, dependent but independent nation? When these people go to visit Buckingham Palace or whatever other thing they are invited to come and see in UK, what do they actually sit in the room and ask the king? Let's be realistic. What is the influence of the king on directing an economy or passing, going to the British Parliament and say, hey, we have to do X, Y, Z. We have to strengthen maybe the exchange rate of the pound to the South African rand, or we have to, negotiate the relationship that actually benefits them. I mean, it's none of those. You see these African presidents that go there just for the photo op. Ramaphosa is actually facing a very serious issue in the country because of what is going on. Africans just have to pull back a little bit and say, I'm not coming. I have issues at home that I need to deal with. As opposed to at every slightest invitation, they're jumping in the plane to go do what? Shake hands and then come back, and then their country's not doing well. Since Mandela left, look at how the currency of South Africa, the rand, has been devaluing. You look at some of the social economic challenges they have. Soweto is still very...
Ejike, let me jump in here, Ejike. You qualified the visit or such visits as an appeasement. But for some Africans watching, and they would think that perhaps this should have some kind of positive impact back home on the continent. So looking at this, what kind of conversation do you expect African leaders, in this case Ramaphosa, to be having with the king?
Again, thank you for reminding me of the word appeasement, because that's what the West has always done with Africans, to appease the African leaders, while the African leaders don't appeal to them and said, hey, we have done each other. I mean, the UK-African relationship is not new. It's more than 100 years old. But what I'm saying is there an African country that is a good example of a solid, sustainable, respectable relationship between UK and Africa? Is there any country? Tell me the country. What's going on? So it's not just hopping in the plane and go have a photo op and go over there and look like a houseboy, meeting the master for the first time. That's not what it's supposed to be. The British king, the Charles, he has no power. He has no economic, he cannot direct anything to happen for South Africa. Let's just be realistic. even the prime minister. So what I'm saying, when you go to these places, what are you appealing to them to do?
And again, I throw this again. Educate. Apologies for all this button, and we really quickly have to do this before the time goes out.
Yes.
The British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, we saw him there. He says that the state visit shows King Charles's commitment to Africa. But now you say that he doesn't have the power to rejig or redirect the economic direction of some of these African countries. So what's the perception of some on the continent and even outside looking at how this is going for the two countries?
The prime minister, the foreign secretary will have to say what, is a prepared speech. He has to come out there and appease the press and say something else. What I'm saying is look at the structure of the British government. What is the role of the king? What can the king actually do? Can the king say, okay, go back to the parliament, introduce a legislation and say, let us have XYZ relationship with South Africa, to where we're going to have, okay, in the case of America, we call it line item in a bill that the president can sign, and then it become a law. So is South Africa looking to Britain to do trade? Are they trying to stabilize the rand, to bring the rand to the equivalent level of the pound 1-on-1? Remember when all these colonies were part of the British management or administration? The pound, the currencies were the same everywhere. That's why people didn't move. But since Britain saw that they were losing control on former colonies, they started to devalue the currencies. That's why you have this dependency attitude always going to them. If the pound is of the same value as the rand, or the pound is at the same value of the naira, there's no need to go see the king. There's no need to go to England. So that's what African nations started to do. We needed to start to have a conversation that stabilizes the currencies and make trade not that of master-servant, but fair, equal, and equitable, so that the African nations can grow. They can't grow just going to foreign countries and getting appeased. They will never. And they cannot even grow if money is being given to them. Africans need investment. But Africans need to start investing in themselves.
It's a fine place for us to leave it. Ejike Okwa, many thanks as always for your time.